In this video, we are going to look at the autonomous region of Bougainville, which is currently a part of Papua New Guinea, and see if the island will become a new independent nation in the years to come. Through using maps and graphs, we are going to look at the history of the island and try to gain an understanding of how the island got to where it is today. Bougainville Island is the largest island in the Solomon Island archipelago, with most other islands in the archipelago belonging to the Solomon Islands rather than Papua New Guinea. It is located 400 miles from the Papua New Guinean mainland, 900 miles from Australia, and just 5 miles from the nation of Solomon Islands to the south. To the north of Bougainville is Bugu Island, also a part of the Bougainville Autonomous Region. The two islands are separated by just over 1,000 feet by the Bugu Strait, with no bridges crossing it. It is believed that the island has been inhabited for 8,000 years, first by Melanesian settlers, and then by Austronesians coming to the island 4,000 years later. Europe's first contact with the islands was in 1768 when French explorer Louis Antoine de Bougainville arrived and named the island after himself. In 1898, the German Empire took claim of the island, annexing it into German New Guinea. In 1920, during World War I, Australia took control, with the island becoming a part of the Australian territory of New Guinea. From 1942 to 1945, during World War II, Japan briefly took control of the island, but the island was later returned to Australia at the end of the war. On September 9th of 1975, the Australian Parliament passed the Papua New Guinea Independence Act of 1975, which marked the 16th of September as the day that the Papua New Guinea territory will gain independence. On September 11th of 1975, Bougainville declared itself the Republic of North Solomon in an effort of self-determination, but was unable to garner international recognition. Due to this, in August of 1976, a settlement was reached and the self-declared Republic of North Solomon would join Papua New Guinea with increased self-governance. One important thing to note about Bougainville Island is that it contains one of the world's largest copper deposits, and in 1972, the Panguna mine began operations managed by the Australian Rio Tinto Mining Company. This brought in many workers from the mainland of Papua New Guinea, along with some Australian employees from the mining company. The majority of the native Bougainville Islanders were strongly opposed to the mine due to the environmental problems it had created, the influx of outsiders onto the island, and the fact that the vast majority of proceeds from the mine were immediately leaving the island. In 1988, tensions around the mine were mounting and starting to turn violent. Papua New Guinea sent in parts of their defense force to protect the mine, were met with heavy resistance from the Bougainville Revolutionary Army. This marked the beginning of the Bougainville Civil War. A year later, in 1989, due to the conflict, the mine ceased operations. In 1998, 9 years after the beginning of the conflict, with the signing of the Lincoln Agreement in Christchurch, New Zealand, a ceasefire was met. This led to Papua New Guinea troops being removed from the island and the Bougainville Revolutionary Army being disarmed. During the war, it is alleged that human rights abuses occurred by both sides against the native population. Estimation of casualties ranges, but the Australian government estimates 15,000 to 20,000 casualties when including combatants and civilians. It is said to be the largest conflict in Oceania since World War II. In 2001, the Bougainville Peace Agreement was signed. This established an autonomous Bougainville government. The deal also mandated that a non-binding referendum on the independence of Bougainville be conducted by June 2020. The referendum occurred from November 23rd to December 7th of 2019. The referendum gave the roughly 200,000 registered voters the option between greater autonomy within Papua New Guinea or independence. 176,000 of those registered voters opted for independence, with 98% of the vote, with just 3,000 or about 1.5% opting for greater autonomy within Papua New Guinea. As the results were non-binding, this left the decision ultimately being left up to the National Parliament of Papua New Guinea. On July 7, 2021, the Bougainville President and the Papua New Guinea Prime Minister released a joint statement acknowledging that Bougainville will become independent by 2027. In the meantime, there's a lot of work to be done, and only time will tell whether Bougainville will finally become independent.